2, 1. Oh, it's
It's all good.
it started early on my end. Never mind.
I'm recording now too,
Oh,
so it's
cool.
all good. Well, welcome, Ian, to the
Hello.
Conscious Broadcast.
Woohoo.
Woo! I'm really excited. We're both recording today, so this is going to be a fun chat. And I've been following Ian probably for 6 months now, I'd say, through Telegram. So I'm really excited. He is a Reiki master teacher, and his channel that I've been following is all about Reiki Zen, and he posts a whole bunch of awesome content, which hopefully people watching here will be able to link up because we're connected on YouTube as well. But I'm really excited to hear more about you and your story and your awakening, and all about your Reiki journey as well. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Welcome me. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Danielle, for my
yeah.
introduction. Yeah. It's well, I've been following stuff you've been doing for quite some time as well, because we're both connected through a few groups on Telegram as well. So that's how you kind of found me and then hooked up to me, and then you're on my Reiki Zen channel on Telegram as well. And then we both have the YouTube channels which we're trying to put out there and spread healing and spread awareness of kind of what's going on in the world and how we all how we all got here and
Yeah,
how
like how did we wake up to this?
and how we
You know
muddle through it.
what's really amazing, especially from my last interview with Dr. Carlos Garcia, I'm realizing that all of this is like your moment in time for self-discovery. Like when you've gotten through this bad, whatever it is, if it's mental health or a really bad circumstance, it's like, oh, I'm ready now to like really explore what this is all about and kind of figure out why we are the way that we are and how we can work with the energies and the other people that are serving us on our journey. It's really quite fascinating.
Yeah, definitely, it definitely is. And I think when you step onto a path of discovery and awareness and healing, it just changes it changes your perception and of just everything, and it just blows your mind, especially the different people you can meet along the way, along that journey, because you do find as your journey and your eyes open wider to bigger possibilities, that all these other people start entering your orbit. You're just like, whoa, what's that all about? What's that all about? And you just want to know more, and you just want to know more. And you think that when you come to meet these people, you think that you know like as much as you could learn, and then you discover you actually know absolutely nothing, and
Mhm.
there's still so much more to discover. So yeah, it's just been, I mean, for me, from the beginning of my awakening, it's probably been like 15 years, something like that. It's just been going, and and it's been kind of like just muddling along as best as I can to try and understand what the heck is going what the heck is
Yeah.
going on, and why am I feeling this? Why am I seeing this? And why are these things just starting to happen when before that I was just kind of like, it was just a normal life where I
Mhm.
just go to work, I go out, I drink, do whatever, I come home and just live that kind of life. Whereas now it's just like, it's like
The hamster wheel, right? It's the hamster
yeah,
wheel of
yeah,
just
yeah.
wake up, do the same
Rat
thing.
race, yeah,
Right,
the rat
right.
race, and it's just like that: eat, sleep, work, repeat, just routine. And you just think that that is life and that is normal. For a lot of people that is, and that's also fine.
Yeah.
We can't force people in out of that belief because that's their perception. Um, but yeah, when you start seeing that there's so much more to our existence than just that we are divine, sovereign, spiritual beings living a human existence, that we have so much more to tap into. And energy is everything, and however we try to flow through life, even though we are in a physical existence, this energy is just, it resides within each and every one of us, and at some point within your life it will pop out and it will say, hey, here I am, it's time to start paying attention, and let's kablam, and you're awake, and you have to start dealing with lots of emotional stuff, trauma, addictions, whatever it may be. There's so much that we have to heal and develop from. And that's
How did
kind of
it
like,
start with you? How
well,
did
I
you?
was just about to start there. I was just about to say that's how it kind of like how it started for me. And it was through like mental health, really, where it started for me, with like depression and anxiety and panic attacks and multiple skin issues, and just kept flaring out in random things, because, as we know, the mind and body work in conjunction. So if the mind's not at peace, if the mind's not at rest, it's going to come out somewhere within the body as a physical manifestation. And for me, that element of what I would class as, I suppose, the dark night of the soul was kind of like the beginning of my awakening journey, the beginning of my realization that, this cannot be everything. This cannot be what life is about. And I suppose if it wasn't for that, then, I mean, I may have done. I have often questioned and wondered if I would still meet the same people that I did along my journey. But I think inevitably it would have happened at some point anyway in this life, whether it was at that point or later down the line, I don't know. But I'm just truly thankful that I did meet the people that I did at that time, because it was just a random, again, coincidental phone call. That I just got a random phone call from a friend of my brother's who wanted to meet up, and we became quite close, became quite friendly, and he wanted to uh, obviously learn more about what was going on with me, with my mental health and stuff like that. And he's actually quite a religious guy, but he's also very open. So he does question a lot of stuff as well. And it was down to him asking me if I'd ever tried meditation. And I was that guy, well, no, I never tried anything like that before in my life. And then started it, did a few meditations, quite short, just built up over time. And yeah, that was it. That it was just that kind of, it was that eureka moment, because when I did finally get into those places of meditation and of what I now call awareness, um, it made me realize that these voices can stop. That this feeling can end.
Can I ask
And
you a question real quick? So this happened in 2008, around that time. You said 15
uh,
years ago.
I would say probably maybe 2010 ish.
2010, 2010.
Yeah.
Because I'm always curious of when people are awakening, right?
Mm.
And I also have another question that just with you saying about meditation, you've never done it before. I mean, I've tapped into yoga here and there. I'm not really much of, and I know there's different forms of yoga, but I don't see a lot of the people that are into yoga that are connected spiritually. It's more of like a fitness yoga now. Can
Mm.
you explain your understanding of the connection where someone really can tap into that kundalini experience, or really, really, I guess, be tapped into this, what we would call it, our awakening, or just our knowing?
Mm.
I've just never had that experience with yoga.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't myself either. I mean, I find yoga quite difficult. I have tried it and I find it quite difficult. I'm nowhere near as flexible as what I used to be years. I mean, I used to do
Right,
like martial arts years ago, so I was quite flexible. These days, very inflexible in that respect.
right.
But yoga is very much based and steeped around the Hindu philosophies and understandings of the chakras, of the energy centers. So all the poses represent a chakra. And that's where a lot of that comes from. So that energy that you're working with when you're in these poses is actually working that energy within that center, or it's said to be working the energy in that center. So obviously your root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, whatever. And so I'm guessing that that is where it comes from.
Yeah.
But although saying that, there are some yoga practitioners and videos that I have followed that have gone further down, I suppose, the deeper relaxation bent of
Mhm.
yoga, where it's just been a case of just sitting and just being cross-legged or in seiza or whatever you want to call it.
Right. And it's
And
just more of like a more of a meditative yoga than it is
yeah,
a
and just
physical.
following the breath and just focusing on
Yeah.
the breath and being aware of your body, being full awareness to your body and how your body is feeling. And if there is any discomfort or aches or pains, just bring your awareness to that. And follow your breath and actually breathe that away, breathe them aches and pains away. So that is kind of like, I mean, I don't have a lot of knowledge or practice within yoga, but I do know that's where a lot of the forms and shapes originate
Yeah.
around the chakras, and then that kundalini energy that everybody's got and everybody experiences at some point within their awakening is what's basically in your root chakra, and it just goes up and works its way up the chakras and opens them up one by one.
Well, I thank you for even just having a little conversation about it, because I kind of threw you in another direction here. But it's nice that you obviously can relate, because you work with the chakras all the time. But I was always just so curious, because I felt a disconnect with that practice to some level. However, my family, and I'm not going to get into the details, do some form of yoga that it is more on the Hindu, more meditative level, where there is that connection there. So I might be exploring that a little bit deeper, but I'd love to hear a little bit more now as you go back to your friend teaching you
Yeah,
more about meditation and how you
yeah.
got started.
Yeah, so it was basically a process of just building up over time, building up my meditation practice, and I discovered that because I did have these maybe, I mean, I started off maybe 5 minutes to begin with, and because I had these 5 minutes of just stillness and peace. 5 minutes, if you sat doing nothing, is actually quite a long time.
Mhm.
So 5 minutes of peace for me, because my mind was just always, just constantly going
Just
round and
constantly
round and
going,
round.
thoughts running.
Could not sleep, couldn't settle, had really restless night's sleep. I was on various forms of medication to try and deal with that, but I just found that was just kind of like just dumbing me down and making me just kind of more like a zombie, really.
Suppress your feelings, would you say?
Yeah, definitely, just kind of like covered stuff up.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then from then the journey just kind of it just kind of continued, and it was probably a while. I'll probably say probably about 6 months of meditation and building up my meditation practice, where I realized that the place that I was working was actually a very negative place, and it was that environment that wasn't doing me any good. Or that it was that environment that was partially not doing me any good anyway. So I decided to leave. But at the same time of me deciding to leave, there was also like a restructure within the business, and again, coincidentally, these things come along and happen, kind of just what people I suppose deem as random, but they're there for a purpose, because it needs to happen. And this restructure, my position was actually gone within that job. So that was kind of like a message for me to think, well, this could be a really good chance to get out and have a new start. And then, so I did. I
Now, did
left.
you leave before the job was over, or did they have to lay you off and then you got some
Um,
support there?
yeah, I left before it was actually
Okay.
done. So I actually left before and started in a new job, which was working in a coffee shop,
Mm.
which again was extreme. It was extremely um busy, and it was stressful. However, the people that you came in contact with and met were totally different, and there was much more of um a deeper connection you could make with people and actually have a conversation and talk to them. And there's so many different types of people that you came into contact with and spoke with, and even the staff as well. And then I found out that the building was like haunted, so that like piqued
Mm.
my interest a little bit, because I was
Yeah.
I was I was always interested in that kind of stuff when I was younger, and then it was one night when we were cleaning up to shut the shop down and things, and I was sweeping the floor and I noticed these leaflets, and because the building was quite old and it had this big old sort of wooden, suppose, fireplace, and on there were all like leaflets from local businesses, and some of the leaflets was about Reiki, and I saw the word Reiki, and I
Hmm.
was just like, oh, and it was like a bing in the back of my mind. And I was just like, there's something I need to know a little bit more about this. So I just kind of like, I hung on to
Isn't
that.
it amazing? That is
Yeah.
so cool. Just like a little,
Yeah.
flyer, leaflet, like just
Yeah.
floating around in your palm, like ends up by your feet. And then it's like, oh, there. That reminds me of that movie, the Disney movie Soul.
Yeah.
Have you seen
I
it?
haven't, I haven't seen it, but I can imagine something like that happening in a,
It was actually a very, very interesting movie that I
mm,
think that has a lot of truth to things. So
yeah.
if you
Well,
ever want to watch a Disney movie,
these things do just happen, don't they? They're just
yeah.
like, so many people just class them as coincidences, but it just happened. It's like out of the blue. You couldn't time it better than what you had. And then, so yeah, so I thought, well, I need to know a little bit more about this. And then I found out, because I asked one of the members of staff, and they said, oh, that's Ken. He comes in here pretty much every day and gets a coffee. I was just like, ah, right, okay. So I hunted Ken down and found and found him, got chatting to
And
him.
I love it.
Yeah. And then found out a little, and then just quizzing him about Reiki, what it was all about, because one of the martial arts that I did years ago was called Aikido, which is a Japanese martial art. So it's
Okay.
Aiki. So that it was the Reiki. So I knew there was something to do with energy within that. Um.
Mhm.
So yeah. So I sat down with him at the end of one of my shifts, and we just chatted. And he said, "Well, why don't you just come along and just try a session?" Because he said my first sessions are always free, and if it's there's no, you can't lose anything from it. So I was like, oh, go on then. So I went along and had a session of Reiki, and it was just like, yes, something changed. There was something different, and I just kind of like floated out of the building and went back home, and I was just like, I don't really know what had happened, but something did shift on some level. Some it must have been like a subconscious level somewhere. Something had happened, and I just felt lighter. And it's a bit like when you go into a deep meditation, you go into theta state or something like that,
Yeah.
and you just feel like just so floaty. You just don't feel connected to your physical body. It was that kind of feeling. And yeah, so I just came out and floated away, and then went back for a few more sessions. In the
Would you
meantime,
say that the Reiki that he did is the similar style to what you do, or is it different?
oh, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same as what I do, because he's obviously he taught me and he trained me in Reiki. So now I do the same
So
form
it's
with.
nice that you had an in-person session though for
Yeah,
your first
yeah,
one.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, trying to like put distance Reiki into context to get people to kind of
Yeah.
wonder what.
I think they're all great. Anything that involves trying to raise our vibrations and give healing. I mean, who
Mm,
wouldn't want that? And, I
yeah,
mean, for me personally, I do.
yeah,
But I know I've had different types of Reiki too. I've had one with sound healing in it, and the
mm,
tuning forks, and one where there was actual physical contact too.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
both were amazing.
Mm,
The second one with physical contact, she's like, I don't normally talk, but she started talking, and all of a sudden I went into like a theta
mm.
state, and I was speaking through my higher consciousness.
Wow, right. So you
Yeah,
must have gone really deep.
we went really deep.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So did
amazing.
he tell me a little bit about his method on you?
So his method was basically the contact hands-on method, and just basically worked from the head down and just worked down the chakra system, and that's how we tend to work around that. Although we try to use more of a, or I try to use more of an intuitive process within the here. So what I feel drawn to, the area of the body that I feel drawn to go to, rather than just use a process. But we do teach the chakras and train with the chakras, just to give people an understanding of where things are and where the energy centers are within that philosophy, and how these different chakras can affect us physically and vibrationally, and on all the different levels through mind, body, and spirit. Um, so yeah, so that was his method. Just contact, and I was kind of made aware of, when I had my eyes closed, I was made aware of colors. and I was seeing lots and lots of colors. And then
Which colors in particular? Anything like stick out or?
it was just kind of like purples and blues and greens,
Yes.
which are like connected to like third eye, crown, heart, all those sorts of colors. And even now when I'm doing Reiki, or if people are receiving Reiki, they'll often say, oh well, I'm seeing colors. And I'm like, all right, okay, well, them colors are usually attributed to what healing is going on within those areas. So, the green for the heart, the light blue for the throat, red for the root chakra. And as you can see from
From your chart behind or
that
your
that
tapestry?
that one there, the wall hanging, well, it's
Yeah.
actually a curtain now, but yeah, the wall
Yeah.
hanging.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of like how we work. But I mean, in Japanese, in the teaching behind the traditional Japanese Reiki, that there's no kind of real chakras involved. I mean, I think they use the crown, the heart, and what they call, I suppose, the hara, which is like, I suppose, the sacral chakra. It's about the navel, and that's the main chakras that they use. But the rest of it is totally intuitive process, and they just go to where they feel drawn to. So that's like the method that we try and teach as well within our practice now.
Yeah, that's great. Oh,
Mm,
so awesome. So I think I briefly told you that I'm like attuning myself. I've taken it really slow.
mm,
Um, there's this course. So there I'm part of another group, another spiritual group locally. So I actually physically know people that are going through awakening journeys and they've created a whole portal. And one of the women is like a Reiki master. And I was very interested in just starting slow with attuning just personally.
mm.
And but I haven't kept it consistent as a practice. So do you practice it every morning on yourself? Tell me a little bit about your daily routine as a person, and or what you would recommend for maybe people in general, of how often they should get Reiki from somebody, or if they're interested in attuning to it. I know that's a lot, but just curious from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if you can instill a routine within your day, then it really does form a discipline, and it forms a routine. And if you do it so many times, it just becomes a main staple of your day. And if you do skip a few days and you don't, and you kind of come out of that routine, it's a bit like when you go to the gym. If you build a routine of going to the gym and you go every day, and then you skip a few days, and it takes you such a long time to get back into that flow. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same with healing.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with meditation. If you can create that discipline and just follow that calling, that you're doing this for you, for betterment within yourself. And so whether it's meditation, whether it's Reiki, whether it's whatever form of healing practice it might be, if you can instill that and use that every day, if you can. But I know it's not, in the Western world, it's not feasible to always be able to find time to do it every day. But
But we can. I
meditation,
mean, if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I find with
well,
young
that's it.
kids, if it's like, because I'm trying to do all the positions, and like spending 2 minutes per each. I mean, that's just what I've kind of starting with.
Yeah,
It can go on for like 35 minutes, 45 minutes,
absolutely. Yeah. But I mean,
even further if you find like I need more attention there, right?
yeah, I mean, meditation doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. You can just spend
Right.
5 minutes,
Even with
just
Reiki meditation, if you're, yes,
Reiki meditation, even just a normal meditation. I mean,
yeah,
meditation is incredibly healing anyway, as it is. But using Reiki as well, if you are attuned to Reiki, or you're interested in Reiki, or you want to learn Reiki, then trying to instill it and use it as often as you can. You can't overdose on it. It's not like medication. It's
right,
natural.
right,
A natural form of healing. So you can't overdose on it. It will only help make you feel better, make you feel lighter. It'll help you in so many different ways, such as clarity of mind, being able to solve problems, aches, pains, mental health. Just
yeah,
giving you some get up and go, or being able to help you relax. If you're highly strung and always on the go and just can't settle down, you just need to relax. Bring that down and just bring that calm into your life, and it really will help. And I think some people think, oh well, I've been calm for so long, and I just need some get up and go and whatever. You just, well, why? Although yes, it's good to have get up and go, but if that's what you need, and you just need some calm, just feel that, just go with it, just relax and just enjoy it, because there will come a time where that get up and go will come back. And then you'll be like, oh, I just can't settle down. I can't relax. So it's just about trying to find a balance between the two and create that sort of even keel.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm like the
yeah.
type of person who wants to go all in, and then
Mm,
like I'm finding, oh, I don't know how realistic it is. And then I get feel badly about myself. So, but for you, giving me a little bit more insight on just try to make it, even if for whatever works for you, even a few minutes, and then it'll become a lot easier. And I think that's it versus like trying to do it like textbook perfect
yeah, yeah,
isn't going to
absolutely.
always work for everybody.
I mean, if you're attuned to Reiki and you can't fit in a full self-healing all hand positions, just put your
Yeah.
hands on your heart or put your hands
Mhm.
on your stomach, just intend for the Reiki to flow and just do 10 minutes, and use it as a meditation as well. And just do 10 minutes. You've done your healing, you've done a gentle meditation, you've followed your breath, you feel better, you can get on with your day. And over time, if you're feeling the benefit from that, you can extend it. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But you don't have to do like a full hour. Even if you do 10
Yeah.
minutes in the morning, 10 minutes on the night when you go into bed. I do that. I go to bed and I'll put my hands just either on my heart or on my stomach, and I'll just intend for Reiki to flow. And usually I will fall asleep. But that again, people question, oh, well, I fell asleep during my session. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. It's actually probably better because you got rid of the conscious mind, and the
Mm,
subconscious mind is dealing with what needs to be dealt with the energy. It's your subconscious mind that understands that energy and can put it to where it needs to go for you. Whereas your conscious mind's thinking, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Should I be feeling this? What's that tingling? What's that heat spot? And you're constantly thinking, and the more you think about it, it's just like, stop, just go, just
yeah.
go. So the conscious mind gets put out the way and you get put to sleep. And then the subconscious can do what it needs to do to work on your healing.
That's so great. Oh, I love that message. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate the feedback too, because I know that there's a lot of people that, meditation is no problem, but it's really nice for if you're interested and sitting with um, meditation and Reiki or attuning to Reiki. You do you also teach that as well?
Yeah, I teach Reiki as well. I teach in person. So it's like one-to-one classes that I teach here in the north of England in UK. And yeah, I mean, I just taught the weekend just gone. I did level 1, which was absolutely amazing. It was really quite mind blowing. The energy was amazing. The venue that I used was amazing.
That's
The
great.
students were amazing, and they felt with each attunement, they just felt something. Again, it was like me on my first healing session. They felt something had changed. They didn't know what. But as time's going on, I'm keeping in touch with them, keeping in contact with them as every Reiki master should do. Just seeing how they're going, how they're feeling, what they're going through. Because after you've been attuned, you go through what's known as the 21-day cleansing cycle, and where you give Reiki to yourself every day, and you try to do the full 45 minutes, hand positions down all the chakras,
Right.
um, just to integrate the energy within your physical body. You'll probably you might release emotions, you might release things through tears, through laughter. You might need to go to the toilet quite a lot. You drink lots of water, try to eat a healthy diet, just to allow the energy to integrate into you.
Mhm. That's great. Yeah, because I was listening to one of your other interviews, and you had kind of gone into the benefits of doing them in person. I'm a big in person person myself. I'm a big in person person myself. I just, I just feel like the connection of learning,
Mm,
it has such a benefit
mm,
that remote can't always be there, but that's not to take away from it. But
yeah,
I think from a learning, it's just like when you go to university,
yeah,
I prefer to be in class than being online. But there's some that are easily to take online.
yeah.
So would you recommend someone if they were to get attuned to go get this done in a certain with a certain place? Obviously, if they're from the United States, they can't come to you necessarily, but where would you
Yeah,
recommend them to start?
there's a lot of places, but I would just go. I would try to find someone local to them that is a Reiki practitioner. Reiki, if they want to learn it, a Reiki master teacher,
Yeah.
and have some sessions with them. Just have some healing with them.
Just start with the sessions
Yeah,
first.
because I mean, you will probably find that most Reiki masters will want to have a few sessions with them to get used to their
Good.
energy, get to know them before they
Yeah.
start bringing them into a class. So yeah, just have a few healing sessions, maybe 4 or 5. Just see what it's all about, see what you feel, see if it's beneficial for you. It might not be for you. You might need
Right.
to try something else. So Reiki isn't for
Right.
everybody. But yeah,
Because I
and
didn't even
then
know what attunement meant. Someone's like, "Are you attuned?" I'm like, I've had it."
yeah,
So I didn't realize that attunement means because I really needed personal healing because I was going to see everybody. I was going to the chiropractor. I was having my husband work on me and doing tissue work. And I'm like, I need to get a handle of this on myself. I
mm,
can't go to someone every day trying to get healing. I'm
mm,
obviously doing something that's not allowing myself to allow. So that's why I was really interested in the concept of attuning. But
mm.
would you say that most people were probably more or less better at receiving Reiki, or it really is by each person?
It really varies from person to person, but I mean, you're always going to get the cynicals and the skeptics, but I find them really the most receptive people because they don't have any expectations.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're just like, well, I probably won't feel anything, just do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do whatever you think is best, and let's just see what happens. And 9 times out of 10, they'll just be like, wow,
Yeah.
they just won't know what to expect. That they'll have probably see things. They'll just have a deep sense of calm, and also you probably find that a lot of cynical people and skeptical people are very, one, ungrounded, and 2, have a closed crown chakra because they're not accepting to this energy, and plus they also have probably some sort of insecurity within themselves, which is affecting the root chakra. And when you start to give healing to those areas, them 2 areas, especially the root chakra, most people in the world, I would say, have an imbalance in the root chakra.
Mm.
Um,
And
but
agree with you on that.
yeah, but if you can give that sense of stability and security to someone that probably thinks that they're a big cocksure themselves and they know everything, they felt everything, they've seen everything, and then they experience something that they've never experienced before, and they think, wow, this is like just something's changed, something shifted. I didn't know what to expect. I felt this, I saw that, I heard this. All these weird things can happen, spiritual things. You might see visions, you might see images, you might see people, you might see loved ones, you might have outbursts of emotion. And a lot of this emotion as well, trauma, death, people that have maybe had big meaning in your life early on, and they've passed away and left that element of trauma within your life. So then you've gone through life thinking, oh, a bit of a hard man or whatever, and think that, no, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
But 20, 30 years, 40 years later, they've still got that embedded emotion within that root chakra that needs to be healed. This trauma, this something that's been trapped. Start to heal that, and the outpour of emotion that can be released, the trauma that can be released from that, can make you feel, whoa, what is going on? Why am I feeling this? Why am I starting to cry? Why am I feeling so emotional? Yeah, it's an interesting journey, and it, like I say, it affects everybody totally differently because we are all different. If we were all the same, can you imagine if we were all the same, what a boring world it would be,
Oh,
really?
yeah. Even in a way where we're like, sometimes when we have to deal with like the challenges in life, it would
Mm.
kind of be boring if we didn't have any
If we
challenges.
didn't have any, yeah, exactly.
Right?
And you
And it
need
wouldn't
that
force
yin
us
and
to do
yang.
anything different. We would just
Mm,
be doing the same thing all the time.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, I'm still looking to, I mean, I'm more aware of like learning more of what I think has been hidden, in the sense of like, I'm hearing more and more about quantum physics, and this guy Nassim, I forget his last name, but he's on Gaia and he's trying to figure out how to encapsulate like the vacuum of the black hole. I mean, I just find like you don't hear this stuff, and they
No.
don't want to talk about anything that breaks
No,
the
anything that
the
makes people think outside the box is
yeah,
just, oh no, you can't talk
exactly.
about that. People will start waking up and questioning everything. You cannot
Yes,
do that. You cannot question
exactly. If everyone
anything.
wakes up too fast, then we're all in
Yeah.
big trouble.
You have
Right.
to work 9 till 5. You have to work your ass off. You have to eat, sleep,
Right.
repeat, and that is it. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes, exactly. So, well, I appreciate you giving some insight on like, just if Reiki's not something you've ever heard of, or you are interested, go get a session. And Ian, you tell them about a little bit about that you do them remotely as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I do
and how
distance
that and
healing.
how you go about doing that.
Yeah, distance Reiki is just like, it's something that most people just don't get. But if you're a healer, if you've had healing before, if you're into the quantum healing, if you're into hypnosis, all that sort of stuff, you will understand it and you will get it. But distance Reiki is basically, a lot of people try to explain it in kind of a 3D contextual reality, I suppose. But we've got to realize that this energy is everywhere. It's all around us. It's within us. It's not something that kind of transmits from me to you, to me, to you, and back again. It's nothing like that. It's basically what we have, what we get attuned to. We get attuned to some symbols, which Mikao Usui was shown when he went on a retreat to Mount Kuriyama, because he wanted to discover how the Buddha, how Jesus, how all these healers in history could heal other people and heal themselves. So he went on this journey of discovery to find out a little bit more. And so he went on this 21-day retreat, and number 21, number 3, really, really powerful numbers within the healing context. We'll go into that maybe a little bit later. But he went on to this retreat on Mount Kuriyama, and on the last day of the 21st day of meditation and just going through all this process, he was actually, what the scriptures and what the books sort of write out, is he was given enlightenment, and he was shown these symbols and these signs. And when he researched what he'd seen, he drew them all down, researched what he'd seen. These are all signs and symbols that have been used repeatedly throughout history, and he saw them in his third eye during a meditation. And so in his eagerness to go back to the Buddhist monastery where he was, to explain that he'd found out how to do it, he's found these symbols, and he actually tripped and stubbed his toe, and his toe was bleeding running as he was running down the mountain. And then he remembered this healing force that he's come into contact with. So he used Reiki on himself, and the bleeding had stopped. And then he went back to the monastery and explained the whole process of what had happened. And then from that point, Reiki, this healing energy, had been rediscovered. But I mean, it's in many different forms throughout history. The Egyptians used it.
Yeah.
They call it Sekim, so it's been used for like thousands and thousands of years. But he rediscovered it on that
Well, and
in
I
that
believe
time.
on the I had a whole little packet to read that not everyone was given the ability to teach Reiki in the beginning. It was only
Yeah, it was.
Japanese, right? And it
Yeah,
had to be males or females. It was all males.
yeah.
And then I think there was only one female left in the town. And then they, that's the story that I kind of read.
Yeah,
So,
it was mainly a male dominant thing. And really, Reiki it's down to Mrs. Takata from Hawaii that brought Reiki to the
right,
West.
right.
Because she was taught Reiki by Chijuri Hayashi, I think his name was, and he was like a student of Asui.
Yeah. And
And
I think it
after,
was like the last of a bloodline, and like we were going to lose all knowledge. So we had to
yeah,
pass it
everything was
on.
going to go, so we had to pass
Yeah.
it on. So then she had to be able to give, and when she came to pass away in 1980, there was only 22 Reiki masters in the world, so it's still relatively new healing art,
Yeah.
So yeah, so and then from then on, it's just been a case of people understanding, learning, healing, finding out more about it, to the point now where we have probably millions of Reiki practitioners around the world.
Yeah. I want you to go into the signs and symbols a little bit. I actually use the master sign right before my hypnosis sessions and
Mm,
sage the whole place because I want the most highest and best for each person. And I can't tell you that master sign, I just trust that it's whenever I feel like I need to use it, I'm just guided by it. But
mm,
when anyone's like really sick or I want them to be at peace, like my son was just recently sick and I just wanted him to sleep and rest and recover. And I did the 3 times the Reiki sign, the master sign. And I mean, I just believe that he did. He slept well the rest of the night. He stopped vomiting. And I mean, I just
mm.
really believe if I could do anything to help someone in the highest good, I've used that symbol. So I don't know yet what I'm doing, but intentionally, I know that they're saying until you attune and really practice with it, be careful with using the symbols and stuff. But that one is one where she's like, it's, if anything, it's for the higher good of
Mm.
working with it. What's your feedback on that?
I mean, symbols, everything to do with symbols, everything to do with Reiki, it's all intention. You know,
Yeah.
everything is intention. So if your intention is of the highest of good, then it'll work. If it's not, it won't work. You know,
Okay.
it'll just stop. And yeah, but I mean, the other person has to be kind of, they have to be knowing and accepting to it. So that's kind of like a little bit of code of ethics to do with that as well. So the other person has to be aware that, or accepting to the Reiki. There are sort of special circumstances, you know, with emergency treatments of Reiki. You know, if someone's in like a crisis state or having a panic attack, then, you know, you can just place your hand on them, on the chest, on the heart, on the back, on the head, you know, and just intend for Reiki to flow and just to help, you know, and alleviate what they might be going through. And so yeah, it can be used in certain situations for again, for the highest good. But yeah, I mean the symbols vibrationally, they all have a different frequency, and that's something recently that's been talked. I watched a video, I can't remember where it was, but there was a thing about symbols, mandalas, and this frequency that they all have, and they played like various frequencies through. You know, when you see sounds going through like a speaker, and it sort of
Mhm.
like vibrates like that. Well, they had all this sand on a speaker, and they were playing all these different frequencies, and the sand formed all these different shapes. Um,
Yeah.
these mandalas, these frequency shapes, and so this is where the science of Reiki and the science of the Reiki symbols come from, because they all have a frequency. So we have what's known as the time distance symbol, which is where basically energy and spirit, that there is no time, space, distance, nothing. Everything is now. So when you use that symbol, it's just like, it's an instant connection. There is no time and distance. So that's why I could send Reiki to you on the other side of the world,
Right.
because I've used the time distance symbol. There is no distance. It is just now.
Do you use that every time you do distance Reiki?
I use it
That
every time,
symbol?
even on myself. I'll use it on myself, because also what happens is, if you use that symbol within your own healing, the energy that you're getting is also healing past life.
Yeah.
It's
It's
also
like
healing.
infinite healing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
healing everything on that linear
Right.
level, whichever lifetime needs healing, going
That's
to it.
awesome. Cool.
So it's really is an amazing symbol. It's
How many symbols
limitless.
are there? Is there a handful or is there like a lot?
In my method of Reiki, there's four in total. But there's so many different forms of Reiki now. I mean, there's Karuna, Holy Fire Reiki. They all have like a whole bunch of other symbols. Tibetan Reiki has more symbols. Um, but again, it's all intention. The intention
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
focus. So yeah, and then I use I've got there's the emotional mental symbol, which helps to bring balance to the mind, to the emotions. It's also good for using for actually clearing and protecting rooms as well. It's a really good protection symbol to use. There's the power symbol, which is the chakra symbol, which gives power to all the other symbols to actually, and it puts that higher frequency of energy and power from the universe for those other symbols to function fully. And then there's the master symbol, which you receive attunement to that once you've done your master level. So, and then once you incorporate that, it really does open up a whole host of other things as well. And then preparing rooms, you use the master symbol quite a lot for preparing rooms for when you want to do teaching and attunements as well.
Mhm. Really cool.
Mm,
I love it. I mean, I was never ever aware of any of this stuff because I was part of the rat race. You know, I
mm,
was too busy to do any of this kind of work. But I guess I'd started at chiropractic. So I'm really
yeah.
excited that I was able to. I cried the first time I got an adjust before I got the adjustment because I'm like, they're going to break my neck. I didn't know what to expect. But as soon as you see, oh, this is just healing, like,
Mm,
and there are people that can help me
mm,
on my journey. And so I really appreciate you sharing what Reiki is about in a short period of time because it's provided so much healing in your life and with
mm,
your the people you encounter. my experience. So I'm really excited that we got to dig deeper on your Reiki journey.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to say about the Reiki work that you do, or that, would help us to kind of wrap our mind around um how expansive or big this is, or what would you recommend for someone who's brand new?
I would just recommend just to book a treatment, get a treatment, just try it out. Whether it's with me or distance Reiki, wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter. Again, time and distance, it knows no bounds. As long as you're open to receive it, you will receive it. A lot of people expect sort of like massive grand things to happen, but not all. They don't always happen. Um, I tend to receive a lot of, especially with distance work, I get a lot of kind of intuitive downloads and information spiritually, where I'll get given information that I will just see or feel or sense, or just have an awareness of something that needs to be passed on to the other person.
Yeah,
Um,
when you were sharing with Shannon, I thought that was really cool, with all that you were knowing what her emotions were, and
I
that
mean,
was
like,
really cool.
for me to know that that's what she was going through, and she's in Australia and I'm sat here in
Yeah.
England, like, just like, and I had no idea. I mean, I do connect with her quite regularly, but I had no idea, genuinely had no idea that she was feeling emotional. That there was something personal that was going on that she was feeling. But yeah, it came through, and I tend to feel that empathically when I use a teddy bear. So
Hmm.
I have the teddy bear, and that's what we call a surrogate or a correspondence for Reiki. And basically, that the bear, once you intend to use the bear for Reiki, that becomes a person. So you have to treat that with the utmost of respect, because that's the other person. But I tend to, it's a bit like in contact sessions with me. So with contact healing, I get more of an empathic connection to the person. So I'll feel or things that are going on with them, or maybe things around the body. I mean, when I did my Reiki level 1 course, there was supposed to be another girl on the course, but she couldn't make it. She cancelled last minute. So then Ken had to try and like work out, right, what we're going to do, who's he going to practice on. So he brought in some guest stars, some ringers and whatever, to come in and receive free Reiki from me. And the first guy that came in, and I was given a healing session to him, and I felt something going on in my knees, and I didn't really know what it was. So at the end of it, I said to him, I said, "Have you got like problems with your knees by any chance?" And Ken just laughed, and he pulled his trousers up, and he'd had 2 knee replacements.
Gosh.
And Ken, but then
Wow.
Ken was a bit worried, because he was like, "People aren't supposed to feel this. This isn't like part of Reiki." But then he realized it's because I was so kind of in tune,
Yeah.
that he
Now, would you
knew.
consider yourself an empath, or
Oh yeah,
no?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Now, once the session's over, you don't carry any of that, or do you have to do
No,
anything to? That's
no. I
good.
mean, I once I clasp my hands, session's over, session's done. I'll do a little bit of cleansing work on myself. I will disconnect everything. I will ask for anything that needs to be disconnected to be disconnected. But as soon as I clasp my hands, that's my sign to my guides that the session's over, finished, and I have no connection to that person anymore. So it's done and dusted, and they let me know what they feel, and if whatever I've said kind of resonates with them on some level.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm.
Oh, Ian, you're awesome. Oh, I would really like to connect further with you after this too, because you're perked my interest, and so
No, okay.
I'd love to explore what it's all about to do the distance Reiki for sure. So, if you just can quickly, because we're going to post this up, can you just tell us the channels and where we can find you?
Yeah,
Um,
so my website is reikizen.co.uk. My YouTube channel is Ian Robinson Reiki Zen. I have Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is Reiki Zen _Ian. My Facebook is Reiki Zen. That's the page.
we
And
need
my
to connect. I'm like,
and my
I'm so bad.
my Telegram is Reiki Zen _Ian. And I only remember them because I've written them down as well. So
Yeah. So,
I said,
I'm like the same thing. I'm like, what is
what is it again? Does that one
channel
have an
again?
underscore? Did I put a comma in that? I can't remember.
But I'm glad that you're on. I know when I wrote down what you were on Instagram, Facebook, so we'll have to connect as
Yeah,
well, because
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
on there as
yeah.
well. Just continue to share this great knowledge with everybody.
Yeah.
that you brought forth today. So is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
I think that's about it for today. I think that's enough for people to try and
Yeah.
comprehend and get their heads around, isn't
Yes,
it?
exactly. Well, thank you so much,
Oh,
Ian.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Don't forget, everybody, to like and subscribe to the Conscious Broadcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a wonderful day.